This series analyzes the Emerald Tablet through the earliest known Arabic version in translation, assuming a Greek original. The tablet refers to a theory centered on a force capable of producing wonders, miracles. These passages are best understood if we assume that the text essentially follows the concepts of Anaxagoras, with certain additions and rephrasing familiar from the teachings of Plotinus. The text also outlines the creation and use of an object that harnesses and amplifies this force, an object later known as the Philosopher's Stone. The stone's material, form, and physical trace were soon forgotten. Zosimos is our earliest surviving source on the Philosopher's Stone, but by that time the stone had already slipped into myth. As sources rooted in lived practice were lost, the traits preserved by rumor could be expressed only in symbols. Lacking knowledge of the actual operations, people increasingly linked the fragmentary reports to rituals. Among the references that accumulated across more than a millennium, one work stands out at the end of the Renaissance: Atalanta Fugiens, created by Maier, with engravings by Merian and published in 1617. Although the book gathers the alchemical ideas of its age, the particular circumstances of its making enabled it to articulate a genuinely profound teaching: how a human being may prevail over time and nature through self-transcendence. In the book, the stone becomes a symbol of the idea. With the loss of the stone's properties and the knowledge of the operations associated with it, what symbols were used to describe it? On the one hand, the stone has a dual nature, res bina or rebis, since it links and thereby unites the intelligible and the material realms. In the patriarchal society of the Middle Ages, these two qualities were depicted as man and woman. The union itself is the act, and when both qualities are joined, the symbol is the hermaphrodite figure, which Atalanta Fugiens portrays as half woman and half man. The stone is also sometimes shown as an egg. The Philosopher's Egg refers to the substance from which the ultimate goal of alchemical work is born. The stone is said to hatch from this egg. It is a symbolic representation of the initial, undifferentiated substance from which the Philosopher's Stone is created, often described as first matter, a primordial chaos or potentiality containing all the elements needed for transformation. The egg is also a symbol of the universe. In ancient Greek tradition, the Orphic Egg, emerging from chaos, was hatched by Phanes, whose name is linked to light. This cosmic egg is often depicted encircled by a serpent. The egg is likewise associated with the hermaphroditic quality because it was believed to contain the male-female opposites. As in Atalanta Fugiens, in an egg are the seeds of both male and female joined together under one cover or shell. Zosimos writes that the stone can resemble an egg, not only in form and in color. Concerning the comparison of the egg with the egg of a hen, that is because the colors of the egg are like the colors of an egg. He also names it white vapor and white copper. The egg symbol of the stone is linked to the bird as well, and when it is heated, it flies away. As Zosimos writes, his nature is unique, so that if it is called either to be Wu fleece fire or white vapor or white copper, one does not lie. He says that it is reduced entirely to a condensed cloud since it flees fire, unlike all other metallic bodies. And also, the egg of the sages is like that. It has in it a body and a soul, and it has something that escapes in it, which is the magnesia, and they named it like that, but its name changed. Thus, a symbol of the stone can be a bird, even one that flies without wings. At the same time, the aim is that the substance itself should not fly off. Therefore, two birds may be shown, one lifting the other holding it back. Images may also show a winged lion and a wingless lion. Another frequent symbol of the stone is the lion. The green lion represents the stone's initial state. Atalanta Fugiens presents this as a stage between the primary matter, the prima materia, and the white vapor that flies off without wings. In some depictions, the green lion devours the sun. The red lion is the symbol of the completed Philosopher's stone. Atalanta Fugiens names Zosimos as Rosinus, and it cites him as follows. And then to one demanding which of the stones was strongest, he answers, "That stone which is no stone is stronger than the other enemy. But the red is stronger than that which strengthened its companions by its fortitude." We find a rather curious mixture of symbols with which later writers tried to give shape to the legend surrounding the Philosopher's stone. It becomes even more curious when we include the emerald tablets lines, which seem to have been formulated by a witness to the stone's making, someone called Hermes Trismegistus. Strange as it may sound, there exists a stone that is in fact not a stone and that fits these symbolic descriptions. There is also a sequence of operations that aligns with the emerald tablet's cryptic expressions. The next part presents such a stone, more precisely a semi-precious stone.